Welcome to BizTips with Jenny Rice, bringing you insights from real entrepreneurs. No fluff, just raw, practical strategies from those who've been in the trenches. Whether you're launching, scaling, or pivoting, this podcast is your backstage pass to lessons, successes, and game-changing tips. Get ready to learn, take action, and level up. Let's dive in with our next guest.
Hi, this is Jenny Rice with BizTips Podcast. I'm so excited about our guest today. We got Hector Bordas, who's an executive leadership coach. Welcome, Hector.
Hey, Jenny, this is so exciting. I've been looking forward to meeting you and being part of this podcast and see where we go over conversation.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to do. Why don't we start with a little bit about you and your background? You can share with our listeners.
Well, sure. So I work with executives and leaders, upper management folks, C-suite folks that are a certain level of career. They understand leadership to some extent, and now they want to change. They either want to move up in their organization. They want to impact a team in many different ways: culture, strategic thinking, strategic management, collaboration, communication, all those things about leadership. Or maybe they're moving sideways. They're moving into another organization and need to understand how to do that and to really determine what they want. And I have worked with folks that are starting their own company, and that's really exciting. It's these folks are risk takers. They're willing to take a chance, willing to challenge themselves. And I find it incredibly rewarding to work with these folks. And I've been doing this for several years. I started as a sole engineer and come to love leadership and everything related about it. Got amazing opportunities to lead very complex situations and teams through culture change, large political endeavors that were turned out to be successful. And it turns out that working with people one-on-one was the most rewarding thing. So I started a business doing that, and here I am.
That's great. And I love that you said you're working with executive and leadership that want to change. They see an opportunity in their lives, their business, their teams to say, hey, things can get better. How do I do that? And then they're saying, I need help. I'm going to reach out to Hector and get some more insight, some more coaching in order to improve on that arena.
Yes, it's really important. It's fascinating. It's like, because there's people say, why do I need a coach? Or even on a personal level, why do I need a therapist? Well, I'm not a therapist, but as a coach, it's like, you don't know, there are things that you're not knowing about yourself. That somebody else, can bring a different perspective, different ideas as to your approach. And then if there's a challenge, and let's say it's communication. Well, what are the challenges with communication? Let's go a little deep and really understand that. So it's those people that want to go, they want to explore, they want to learn more about themselves, and then they want to push themselves, challenge themselves to another level.
Yeah. And I think it's so important that when people look at you, say, I want to change the dynamics in my team. I want to change how things are going, but real change happens within, right? You need to look at yourself and how can I change that will help influence the others, the team, whatever the issues are, to help that have an impact also.
Yeah, it's an excellent point. It's really, the change really starts with you. You could be leading a team of hundreds of people and you want the team to move in a certain direction. But if you're not changing, you're not evolving, the team is not going to support you. They're really not. They have to see the change start with you. If you want to move the culture in a certain direction, well, you as the leader have to take the first step, show them that you're really behind what you say, that you really believe in the decisions and in the actions. And you have to make that change. If you want the team to collaborate more, well, you have to become more collaborative. And that may be a challenge to you because you may be a little more of a quiet person, but it may require that you step up and learn how to be more collaborative. And the change really does start with you. That's a great point.
Absolutely. And then so when you work with clients and executives, do you find that they have a similar issue, or does it really vary on their situation, their teams, and things like that?
What shows up a lot, it's time management. It's like, oh, we don't have enough time. It's like they're bombarded by emails, bombarded by meetings, all kinds of requests. Everything is a priority. So how do they do? What do they do with that? And how do get that under control. And what's remarkable when I get to down and really study, how they spend their time, the people realize that they actually have time. It's quite amazing. If you look at exactly what you're spending your time on, you can spend half of your day on emails, and then what did you get out of that? What did the company get out of that? Were you actually productive? And when you start really determining what's really important, you actually find time. It's like, oh, it's amazing. And you'll find time, hey, now spend more time with my kids, with my family, exercise, take care of yourself. But really, it starts with really understanding how do you spend your time, determining what is really important, what are the priorities, and then just focusing on that. And you'll find time to do many other things. Meetings that are not important, you don't need to be there, and you can say no to those things. So time management, it's critical. Another thing that I find is folks at a certain level, all of a sudden they realize, what do I really want out of my career? So there's kind of a haze of confusion, and I help them define exactly what they want. Because if you don't know what you want, you're going to end up somewhere, or you may end up staying in the same organization that may not be the best place for you. You're not enjoying the work. So determining exactly what you want, then it makes it a lot easier to determine what are your priorities and what to work on. So yeah, what you want, time management shows up a lot. And there's other things that come up in the coaching.
Yeah. And it sounds like you might see similar issues or problems that they might have, but yet you're coaching with people one-on-one. So you're able to identify, hey, you're reflecting back to me this particular issue. Let's work on that. Or, commonly you could have time management issues, but there's another layer to that you can go even deeper, which is the real benefit of working with somebody like you, that you can really listen to them, find out their problems, and then come up with a solution that works for them and their situation, right?
Yeah. I usually use an analogy of sports, as just pick a basketball team. What's a basketball team without a coach? I mean,
Yeah.
where's the team going to go? What are their weaknesses or strengths? What has worked well in the past and has not worked well in the past? And then the coach works with the individual. They can
Yeah.
see things that the individual cannot see. And they can work
Absolutely.
and point out things. Hey, the way you're holding that ball, you're turning your feet. They don't see that, and the coach is there to point those things out. And then the
Yeah.
individual takes, those corrective actions that lead to change, that leads to a more higher performance team.
Yeah. It's so interesting. I love that you're saying that we all have blind spots. And they're
Yes.
blind spots because we can't see them. And we need somebody else to reflect back to them. This is how I see, this is how you're reflecting back to me, so they can overcome that blind spot and really make that lasting change, right?
Yeah, and developing those feedback loops, it's so important if you really want to be a good leader, creating those feedback loops and are critical. Sometimes leaders are very isolated. They're up, way up there in their offices, and they're shielded from everything else. And sometimes they're not hearing the things that they should be hearing. And so creating those feedback loops are important, and not just from yes people that'll tell you what you want to hear. It's being vulnerable and creating that culture that people are very comfortable in approaching you and to say, hey Hector, yesterday blah 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 this happened, hey, can I make a suggestion? And if you allow your team that comfort and that level of vulnerability, that feedback is so incredibly valuable. And there's going to be things that you don't know, things that you don't see. And so it kind of goes back to having that culture of transparency, collaboration, vulnerability, and you're going to get some great feedback. However, it's not easy getting there. It
Yeah.
takes work. It takes a lot of work.
Yeah. And commitment and self-awareness, right? So to be able to,
Self-awareness.
yeah. So tell me more, because you mentioned a bit about culture. I know you have a background in culture and you've written a book about culture. So tell me a little bit more about
Yes.
that.
So I've had opportunities to work on culture on some large teams. My boss came up to me this one assignment, and he goes, Hector, we want you to work on this, blah, blah, blah. He was kind of vague about it, and I go, I know exactly what it is. You don't even need to tell me. And then he goes, all I want you to do is change the culture. And that was the assignment. And I thought, okay, change the culture. So, I've gone through various exercises with some large teams in moving the culture in a certain direction. And I did write a book about it, company
Wonderful.
culture,
Company culture,
getting it right.
getting it
And
right.
and it really it's not an easy thing. It really takes a lot of work, and it starts with the person at the top. The leader cannot just walk away and say, "Hey, direct reports, change the culture." It's not going to work. The leader has to be involved in so many aspects of that because everybody's looking at him or her. You know, not just in the words that he's saying or the nice, beautiful posters and mission statements. Fantastic. Okay, what is he actually doing? He or she actually doing? What are decisions they're making? Are the words, the values that this person says? Does the leader actually adhere to those values? So it's important that the leader really it has to walk the talk, and changing culture. It's going to take years and years and years. Well, it could. My experience in cultural change is that you have to actually do it a lot rapid, a lot quicker. It's like pulling the band-aid off the wound real quick. It's like you're taking your team and you're walking them to a new location, into a room, and you shut the doors behind you. It's like, we're in here. We're going to make it. There's no going back. If you extend that over long periods of time, and allow things to, hey, we're going to change this a little bit here, this little thing, then it can easily slide back to its old ways, its old norms. So it's got to be quick. Messaging from the leader is critical. The leader being there constantly, showing actions and decisions that support the new mission and vision. And it can be done. And some people are not going to like it, and people don't like change. Some people are not going to like it, and then it requires that hand holding to bring those people up. And then you have those that are going to be on board right from the beginning, and those people that do that can be your best allies. They can be the people that can help you carry the message and support the change.
Yeah, your friends versus a foe, right? So
Yes.
be aware of those. I love that. I understand you have a promotion for people for culture with your book, right?
Yes, whoever contacts me, my email, I'll send them a copy of the book, a free PDF, and then a quiz to see how well you understood the concepts. So you can test yourself, and maybe you can see areas that you may want to look at that you may want to improve and change, evolve, and learn more from.
That's great. So they can look at that, and then if they want more, they can hire you as their coach and change consultant to help them implement all those things, right? Which is great.
Yeah, that'll be fantastic. I'll love to work with your audience.
Yeah, that'd be great. So as we end this podcast, Hector, do you have any tips for other people that are maybe the clients you serve that are running their businesses from an entrepreneurial perspective?
So what I like to get people to start thinking a little differently is to constantly think strategically. So if you have very clear goals that you want to achieve, they're very clear, well-defined, they call SMART goals. You have that. So then everything that you do, all your actions, your decisions have to be aligned with that. So thinking strategically all the time will help you not only time management, excuse me, in terms and also productivity, because you're focused on those really important things. So as you go by in your day strategically, what am I doing? How come I'm doing this? Is this aligned with what I'm trying to achieve? And you can even take that to your personal life, thinking strategically, your family, your friends, your acquaintance, partners, what are we trying to do? Where are we trying to go? Okay, what are the actions, decisions that I'm taking? Are they aligned with my values and my goals? So thinking in strategic to me is really important. And I hope people adopt that in their lives.
Yeah. And I love that. And I love that not only it's important to be aligned with your strategy, but being aware of what those are so you can
Yes.
align with them. Because a lot of people are just, scrambling around getting things done without realizing, is this purposeful? Is that
Yes.
purposeful? So having that purpose in there, then, they're going to be much more aligned and much more productive too, right? So,
Yeah, it's quite remarkable. I work with folks to help them just define three important things on a daily basis. When you look at everything you're trying to to do. Focus on only 3 important things. That is it. No more than 3. It could be simple, sending an email, or it could be a little more complex. 3 important things. You do them in the morning, get them over with. And if you do that for a year, my gosh, 3 important things for a year, imagine what you can accomplish. And then everything else is a distraction. Everything is a distraction.
Yeah.
Focus on that, and you'll achieve your goals and success so fast.
That's great. That's a really good tip, and something that is simple to implement. Maybe not easy, but simple, right?
It's simple.
People can go do. This is great. Thank you, Hector, for being a guest. He's been very insightful. I've learned something, so I really appreciate you being a guest on this podcast.
Jenny, it's been a pleasure. Great to meet you, and I hope we can chat again some other time.
Yeah, that's great. So this is Jenny Rice with BizTips Podcast with Hector Bordas. Thank you again, Hector, for being a great guest.
Thank you, Jenny. It's been a pleasure.
That's a wrap on this episode of BizTips. For more insights, join us online. We share exclusive tips, resources, and strategies to help you grow and scale your business. Until next time, keep building, innovating, and making an impact.